Hello everyone, another Klaus here, and today guys, of course, I'm gonna review a RoboRiders set, and in fact it's gonna be the last canister one, because of course there is like 7 normal sets. I don't really count the 4 little promotional sets, and well, there are 6 of them which comes of course in the canister form, and the last one which is more like a Titan one, and this one we're gonna review, yes, we're gonna review this one Monday, but for now, I'm gonna review the last one, which is Dust, but of course, I don't have the Dust canister, so once again, and in fact the last time, I'm gonna show you the first one, just to show you the what RoboRiders canister look like. So, of course, it's the first one. The Dust one was kind of tan, of course, and, instead of white, and of course, we were supposed to have some dust pictures instead of frost. So nothing really to say. You've got the 6th time RoboRiders set, then some little gimmicks you can make with your RoboRiders, then the fridge gimmick with the top secret web code, which you were supposed to enter on the official website at the time, of course. And well, by the way, the most interesting part is the canister lid, which is quite unique because you need the canister lid to make the communal model, because they are really useful to make wheels, and of course without wheels, well, the model is not really complete, because most of the communals model are again motorcycles, so without wheels it's quite a problem. And of course you're supposed to use this pinhole, yes. So that's all for the canisters, guys. Now for the instruction booklet, and now here we go. So of course it's more like Dust, so as you can see right here, of course, is in his landscape, so well, kind of a desert, a threatening desert, if I can say so. You can also notice a little slicer head here, so maybe another Dust. I don't really know if these characters are supposed to be unique or they are more a certain number of them. For example, there is like 100 frost, 200 lava, stuff like that, or if they are just unique, is it just one guy like them. And so, by the way, you can see some science fiction reference, I guess, because this monster kind of reminds me a monster from the Star Wars franchise. I'm not really a fan, but I'm sure there is some kind of a sound hole with some little teeth in one of the Star Wars movie in one epic scene, and this kind of creeps remind me of the face hugger from Alien. So, well, maybe that's some reference to this science fiction movie. Then of course you build this guy in 20 steps, as you can see, and here you can notice the canister. So as I said earlier, it's of course in a tan color, and of course you can put dust all in the canister when it's built. So in fact, quite like the Slizers robot or the Toralda later, in fact, or even all the Bionicle, or at least most of them, because for example the stars, you kind of have to put off the weapon if you really want them to enter in the canister. But well, that's just some sidetrack stuff, so just keep on this instruction booklet. So of course you have the page which show you how to launch the front wheel. So even with this page, I have still some hard times to make it work, but well, still, you can see again the canister right here. Then of course the 16 wheels, and remember I've said you that I will try to go to the official website, which of course is no more, but you may guys know a site known as archive or archive.org, .org, excuse me, point is for the French of dot, so .org, and on it in fact you can go on any website you want in his past version. So for example, if you want to go on the Lego website or even the YouTube website in, for example, the year 2004, you can make this if the page was saved, and of course if the page was saved. And so this means I could go on the RoboRiders site, and we'll see that in fact these wheels are called the talisman wheels. So I don't really know why, but in fact there weren't a description on this wheel, so there were just pictures of them plus their name. So as I already said, they all got a name which in fact is based on their tools they use. For example, this guy is called Axer because he's got 2 axes, of course, quite logical. This guy is called Driller because he's got a drill. This guy is called Twinsaw because well, he's got twin saw, so well, that's all. So nothing really interesting. And the website doesn't really have anything interesting also, because the story is like just a 10-line plot, so nothing really interesting. I have not said to you already. And then the characters, which got some wallpapers, but you can't access the wallpaper because, well, even if the site, even if archive.org is quite useful for going on some past page from the some internet page from the past, excuse me, sometimes you can't access some data. So, for example, I couldn't access the wallpaper, which is quite a problem. Here you can see the communal model, which can be made between frost and dust. You can see the picture right here. But of course, you can see a bigger picture right there. And as you can see, of course, it's used, as I said, the two canister lead to make some kind of weird long motorcycle. Then a little ad for the 6 RoboRiders that you know by the time. And of course, the 5 famous other combiners, which could be made with while going on the website. And so, well, I was on the website, as I said earlier, and well, the problem is that the instructions are quite like the wallpapers. You can't access them, so this means I can't download them. In fact, they were in PDF format, so in Acrobat Reader format, kind of like the instruction of nowadays, but you can't access them anymore because I think they are not, these files are not on the Lego servers anymore. So again, even with 6 reviews, I couldn't get my hand on the instruction for this 5 combiners model. So if one of you guys have the instruction on his computer, maybe some of you guys have still the same computer since the year 2000, well, feel free to post some link to finally get the instruction, because I think of course it will help me if sometimes I get the canisters, and of course it will help the RoboRiders fan. So that's all for the instruction booklet and all this website story. Now for the set itself, guys. So here's dust. As you can see, of course, the color scheme is tan with some black as a minor color, which is which I think is the minor color of the RoboRider, because you can see black in swamp, lava, power, onyx. So in every set apart frost, seriously. So black, tan, some dark gray for the wheels, and some light gray for the little technique parts. Also, we notice some chrome for the harpoon section on the front. And also you can notice 3 things. The first is that, of course, it uses the same frame as seen on I don't know, I saw on TV, excuse me, I saw on Power or Onyx. In fact, well, we're going to set on the construction, and well, it got 3 wheels also, so kind of like this time swamp and lava, and finally it's got a slicer head, kind of like Onyx. So in fact, it's a kind of little combiner between well, a mix between different RoboRiders in terms of parts. So we're gonna destroy this big guy, of course, to show you how it works. And here we go. So as I said earlier, you got the same frame as Power and Onyx. This time it's put in the same way it was on Onyx. This means these 2 parts are put on the back and not on the front like Power, of course, but of course it's that because it's got a slicer head. So of course the slicer head is in tan, which can be found in the work granite slicer or robot, but which also can be found in the fighting droid. I don't think it's called fighting droid. I don't know if it's a fighting droid, but well, in the Star Wars droid released in the Technic set, those parts were used as fit, I think. And then of course you got your slicer visor, which of course is unique to Dust, so you got his name, and this time he's got some kind of little mask, not only a gas mask, but still you got the little goggles right here, and well, the briefing part, excuse me, right there. So quite interesting, and again, quite different from the other RoboRiders head. But I already said that in my Onyx review yesterday. say that, excuse me, not say that. Then you got a long axle right here, so kind of like power aerodynamics, but this time you can see there is no gears in fact in there, because this set don't have the same gimmick as power aerodynamics. This means you won't be able to make the rear wheels go up or down when turning this part. In fact, this part can be turned, but it doesn't really serve any purpose at all. So we're gonna set, of course, later on what is the gimmicks of dust. But for now, we're gonna put these two front parts, which you may know by now, because because they are used on every RoboRiders set. Of course, this time there is no tan color. And then we're gonna link the rear wheel section, which is quite complicated because, well, as you can see, it used a curved technique beam, as you can see right here. Then we're gonna put a long axle in this, putting two wheels, of course, as I said earlier, on the rear part. So here you got twin saw, and I think it's the grab right here. Then we're gonna put these two technique parts, which are just full of pinholes, as you can see, and are quite thin, in fact, in terms of I don't know the name, but they are not wide. And then, of course, to link all these parts together, because they were just pinholes, so they're supposed to fall off, we're gonna put these two little technique parts. Then we're gonna link this part, kind of like the rear wheel section on Onyx or Power. So this means we're gonna link this part to the pinhole right here, taking some axle of 3, and here we go, it's linked. Then we're gonna yes, we're gonna take this part, which is one of the front part, which is made of multiple technique parts. So as I said earlier, we got a little harpoon, then this technique part, an axle, this famous technique part with one side axle hole and the other side is a pinhole, and then this part with the numbered angles, so like 3, 1, up to 6. We're gonna link this part. Well, I guess it's just let me. Oh, okay. I'm gonna check on this one booklet. Yeah, okay. It seems. Oh yeah, no, it's just me, which sucks in fact. So yes, I was supposed to take this part and do something like that. So now we have this part, and as you can see here, you got some little gray parts, which was used as a neck for the door holder. So we're gonna link this part right here. So we're gonna in fact make all the holes kind of center. So as you can see right here, then take an axle of 3. And then link all this part together. This time they are all linked together. And now we're gonna do the same thing for the, I think, well, the left side. Again, I turn this part right here. My axle of 3. And we link all the part together. And finally, I'm gonna link, of course, the front launching wheel. And here is, oh, it's a new guy. It's dynamite. I really like this deal, don't really know why, but seriously, they could just have done some something not really original, the same disc for every guys, and now they decided to make this little guys in the disc, and it's look, well, I think it's pretty original and pretty cool. And well, dust is done. So now all the gimmicks work, because as you have seen, they are not the same as Onyx and Power. So, well, in fact, it's quite simple. We're gonna just push the head down, and he's gonna attack with his harpoon. Nothing really complex, in fact, it's just because all the parts are linked, and there is a little elastic right here, and oops, a little harpoon, which falls off. And well, there's the elastic, of course, the rubber band, excuse me, which is quite useful to, of course, make the bike goes in its initial position. Yeah, kind of like that. And well, it's a pretty original gimmick, I have to say, for this one. And of course, the second one is the front launching wheel. So, can we make it work this time? It's really the question I ask me every day since the start of this week, I have to say, seriously. So, And it works. Again, I really failed at doing that in my French version of this review, but in the English version, I don't really know why, but most of the time it works kind of perfectly. Well, not maybe that perfectly, but at least it worked. It worked before, of course, and I began talking about that, and of course, no, it just failed. But well, I think you have seen, so of course, it's supposed, yeah, like that. It's supposed to roll. Again, nothing really, not really a super interesting gimmick, I have to say. And well, that's all, guys. In fact, that's all for the gimmick. That's all for the construction. So now for a little sum up of this set. So first of all, the color scheme, black, tan. Well, quite cool, but nothing really interesting, nothing really new. I mean, on the Slicers robot work guy, it was more like just dark gray and tan. It looked pretty cool. This time it's more like black and tan. So, well, it's an okay color scheme, but I think they could have done some maybe some more interesting or some ingenious mix between colors with the tan color, because well, tan and black is quite classic, even if it worked pretty well, of course. Then you got the part selection, I guess. The part selection, which is quite okay. Well, no, it's really quite okay. I mean, you got 3-wheel, which is quite cool, of course. You got the slicer head for those who don't have it. You got the unique dust visor. You got little harpoons for those who don't own system sets. And well, you got, of course, the main frame and stuff like that. But most of these parts are some generic technique parts. So of course, I don't really know if these parts are quite rare or not in tan color, excuse me. But still, it's not really some interesting color. I think I say that for every RoboRider review, but well, that's just how I felt. In fact, the sets are not miraculous for this part. Of course, I think I do not count them, but maybe it's between 20 and 30 parts. So, well, but again, nothing really super exciting. Still some interesting parts which are pretty unique to this set, but still, well, otherwise. Then you got the building part, which is quite interesting, I have to say, because it's true that I've complained sometime, but well, since Lava, I've complained that the construction was quite straightforward, and well, with the fact that this frame is the main body frame, the construction was even simpler, I can say so. But this time I have to say that it's quite interesting, because we're gonna of course we have this part, but still we're gonna build all this little section right here, and then link all of this part together to see the gimmick work. And I have to say that this the building of dust is pretty interesting. It's pretty different from the other guy, and quite interesting. So I have to say it's a good building because it's quite unique. So the construction of the building is really nice for this set. And then of course you got the overall design, which again is pretty unique, even if it used most of some not really original technique parts. I have to say that with all these parts, it's really got a bulky aspect, because as you can see, for example, Onyx was just kind of wide this aspect, and this aspect doesn't really mean anything. Was not really that wide, and well, with all the parts added on dust, it really looked like wider than Onyx or even Power with his 2 slicer arm. And well, it's bulky, it's got 3 wheels, all this aspect, which is really look like kind of a little armor. So it's a good design, I have to say, even if it's used parts, generic technique parts. And the good point, excuse me, in fact, is that the design is cool, but the design serves the gimmick, which in fact serves the building. So this means that all the three aspects of a set, so the building, the design, and the gimmicks, are really well linked with this set. They are really all linked together, and it's really a good-looking set with nice gimmick and nice construction. And also this set doesn't have any kickstand because it's got 3 wheels, but even with these 3 wheels, sometimes as we can see, it can still fall off. Well, just fall off. Hey, stop doing that. And well, that's all for Dust. So it's really a pretty good set, pretty original for the frame it's used. And well, that's all. But that's not really all for this video itself, because now I'm gonna do a little group shot with all the RoboRiders which came released in canister. So this means without the last one, of course. So first of all, there were Frost that I reviewed Monday. Then there were Swamp. It was Thursday. Thursday or Tuesday? No. Then there was Lava, Power, Onyx, which was yesterday, and finally Dust that I just reviewed. And here we go, you have all the 6 RoboRiders sets released in a canister form. And what you have to know is that in this 6 set there are 3 types of frames. The first one is unique to Frost, is a slightly slicer modified body frame, which is quite unique and cool. Then you got the Technic Beam frame, if I can call this like that, which is used on Swamp and on Lava. And this Swamp is quite more interesting because it's got some elastic, so it's quite different, but still it uses the same type of frame and technique parts. And then you got the big blocky part, which is the one used for the 3 last guy. You also have to know that there will exist 3 RoboRiders with 3 wheels. So 3 I think is really an interesting number. So you got Swamp, Lava, and Dust, which use each of those guys use 3 wheels. And then you got 2 RoboRiders which got slicer head, unlike the 4 other which got real RoboRider head. And I think that's quite all. So I'm not gonna do again a little sum up on every of this guy because, well, I have already done individual review for each of this guy. So I'm just gonna do my top 3, 1 guy per frame. So of course, well, even if there is just a Frost, even if Frost is the only one with his frame, is still one of my fab. Because it's the first one I known, it's the first one I discovered as a friend house, I have to say, and it was really a must-have for me at the time I see it because it's really got an interesting design. The color scheme is great, the part selection is quite nice, and well, that's quite all. Seriously, it's a really great set, and it's pretty unique thanks to his frame. So seriously, Frost is one of the best RoboRider. Maybe number 1 on my top 3, in fact. Top 3, excuse me. Then you have Swamp, which is my 5 between Swamp and Lava, because I really like, as I've said, this aspect of kind of humanoid form, because really the lime section really looks like a human guy with the legs, the body, and the arms and stuff like that. So it's pretty nice. Plus, I really like the elastic, which really means good suspension, and you can really have fun playing with this guy. And finally, between these 3 guys, Dust is my fave because even if it uses the same body frame, it's quite different from the 2 other guys. And well, the construction is interesting, the design is interesting. So seriously, it's really a good set because this guy Onyx was just average. I mean, the construction was not really that interesting. Even if I like the longer aspect of the set, and I of course really like the gimmick of the rear wheel suspension, which really work nice. I like the power aspect, but don't really love the slicer arm, which really breaks the overall design of the set. So Dust is my fave. And well, I think that's all. So here's for my top 3 guys. So hope you enjoy this 6th review, but again, it's not done. The RoboRiders special week is not really done because tomorrow, excuse me, it was today, but not tomorrow, so Monday, I'm gonna review, of course, the first form of the final RoboRiders set. Well, the Titan form of it's kind of the RoboRiders Titan set, which got in fact 2 forms. So I'm gonna review the first one Monday, the second one Tuesday, and that will be all, I think. But for now, all the 6 canisters, so you may know this canister by now, canisters sets guy are reviews, so feel free to ask questions or comments about Dust, of course, and if you want, comments on all the 6 guys. So what's your favorite RoboRiders between these 6 guys and stuff like that. So personally, I'm gonna go with Frost. So I'm just gonna do a little zoom on this guy, and they really look quite nice, all put in line like this. So Dust, Onyx, Power, Lava, Swamp, and Frost. So hope you enjoy these 6 reviews, guys, and see you tomorrow for the super RoboRider, also known as the boss review. Bye bye.